Yeah, the Jasper cyclone, we as an organisation were in preparation. We gathered everybody together to see how we might be able to ensure that the place was ready, that we were looking after clients, the clients being briefed leading up to the cyclone. And because we have elderly clients and a lot of families that we work with, that was our main concern, is to make sure that they were ready for the storm that was approaching as well. And while it was a Category 2, we thought that, oh, okay, this might not be as significant as some of the other ones that we had in the past. But as we found out later, yeah, there was quite a bit of rainfall and flooding that resulted, from Cyclone Jasper. Okay, well, many of us at that time were all at home in our own areas. Nicole will share with you about her own experiences. I was on my family property, and we were flooded in. We had the causeway washed away. We were very reliant on our phones, and we had good signal at that time. So while I was locked in where I was based, and we couldn't come into work, we were coordinating via phone, text messaging, and making sure that everybody was looking after their areas, because Ngoonbi not only looks after the Kuranda community, but we look after, we have an aged care program in Mareeba, Atherton and Mount Garnet. So it was a coordinated effort between all of those sites to make sure that everyone had what they needed, and we were responding appropriately, and we were very aware of what clients needed as well. So as soon as we were able to go in there and do the welfare checks with all the clients. We have a telephone call centre, where if any clients are calling in, they can tell us what they need and how we can respond appropriately. So we were coordinating with Mareeba Shire Council and the State Emergency Services, some instant and immediate responses. We had our staff members on the ground that were checking in. We had a respite centre that was very dependent on a generator to make sure we didn't have food spoilage. But the welfare checks that we undertook, our staff and our coordinators and all our supervisors were calling all of their clients at each of the sites, the 4 sites, and just making sure that people were okay. And we were watching Facebook and social media to see what the needs were out there as well. And that gave us an idea of what were some of the needs that required immediate response.
So I stay in Kawa, it's a remote community. There's two causeways that we get through, so into the town and out of the town. That's how we access, water, service, etc. There was no Wi-Fi. We had no water as well where we live, because we have to pump water out there. So we were really dependent on our neighbours during that time. With Kawa, we did experience a lot of rain. The house next to us was the water come right up, so really, scared during that time. We're just making sure everyone in that area was okay, just dependent, making sure that all their needs were met and stuff. Just showing empathy as well to people, making sure that, they're okay. In terms of the service, we had to travel up the road in our cars just to be able to get in contact with my colleagues and stuff, and making sure they're okay. I think calling back, it was 5 to 6 days without power, and just the significant amount of rain was really scary. None of us were expecting that. But I was really grateful, to be able to return to work and make sure the community was okay. And just living through that experience, it does teach you a lot. Yeah. Yes, we could, but in terms of because we have no generator at our house too, so we had to sort of rely on other people. With the phones and stuff, we had to travel in the car to charge our phones. Yes, that was difficult as well. So only a couple days. During the 5th or 6th day, we're sort of getting sick of it. Yeah, we all were. Yeah.
When the waters started subsiding, there were still some communities that were without access to purchase food and to restock and regather. So what we saw is that while I was walking in and out, and we had a vehicle on the other side of the property, and we were walking in because we couldn't get our vehicles out, we still found out that communities like Korowa, Mona were still without access into to stock up on supplies. So that's when we kicked in, and we started gathering food and everything like that. Well, we knew with all this rain, and we knew that there was going to be some issues, so we wanted to make some food supplies available and to get some food parcels out. So I was able to engage also with Mulungu Medical Centre, the CEO there at that time, and she was able to work with us, and we partnered. Ngoonbi purchased some goods, and they purchased some goods, and then we did a great big drive-through. As soon as the road were open and the flooding had subsided, and we saw all the ergon trucks going in, because all of us in that area were without power for about 6 days, and like Lakoa was saying, they were 5 to 6 days. It was up to 6 days that we were all without power. And soon as they could, ergon was straight in there. Some was even much longer than that, the 5 to 6 days, yeah. And you're saying about 8 days for some areas?
Like Crow and that, because they was out of power.
Yeah.
And we was out of power because over at Barren Falls.
Yeah.
There's 2 access to get at, but it was all flooded.
Yeah, we had some concerns about Mona because we knew that there were some families out at Mona, and Mona is kind of located about 45 k's out of Kuranda. And when I called up Mareeba Shire Council to see whether they were able to help, they were saying, yeah, we're actually doing some helicopter runs to neighbouring cattle properties. And so we said, well, can we become involved in that too? And so, they were able to supply a helicopter, which was absolutely wonderful because it was all well coordinated, and we were able to get the food at that time and make sure that it was out, in a timely manner. And so the families, SES actually got a call from Mona saying we hadn't eaten for 2 days. And so the people that had actually put in that call for help and assistance didn't know that, on the ground we were actually, gathering food parcels for them as well, fuel and gas supplies as well. And that's some of the other things that we were able to do, not only in Kuranda, but out in some of the other areas at Mona and over at Korowa and Oak Forest, because they were short of other things as well. Yeah, what we saw is community pulling together. We saw a great effort, even within our staffing. Our organisation leaders were just really, really out there. There was such a caring attitude right across all the services. Nobody hesitated, nobody said no. It was a case of, okay, if we can do it, we will do it. And so this is what, we had teams on the ground that just were making sure that they were pumping up petrol, getting fuel out to people with dialysis, home dialysis outfits where they needed and were dependent on generators. We had other sick and elderly people that required fuel top-up. So all these little things, we tried to do as much as we could, and even with looking at whether people needed help with phone credit, so that they can stay in touch. Just little simple basic things that would help people that, yes, we made sure the food was getting to them, but we also made sure, and this is where Lakoa can give her an insight and her recollections of how people were coming in because they were short of monies for food. So we were distributing quite a bit of emergency relief. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to say something about the emergency relief?
And just to elaborate on what Grandma Judy was saying, during that time with the cyclone, we've seen like a lot of departments and stuff and all the teams coming together to make sure the clients, the clientele, the community was, supported in that way. I think it was like a couple of days prior to the cyclone, there was a lot of community members coming in for emergency relief, and a lot of people was under a lot of, duress and stress and stuff like that. And we did our best as an organisation to support them. even after the cyclone, we had a lot of people coming in for disaster payments and stuff. And because so many people were stressed out and stuff, I think it was a learning process. And just supporting them through, that process, supporting, for claims and stuff, knowing what they're entitled to. And an organisation, we really went through like a learning process, because we were learning ourselves how to support people, and we're really grateful, and it's such a rewarding part of what we do, is just helping the community.
Yeah.
It was a collaborative approach with, the services, and I give credit to the Ngoonbi employees for the joint effort in coming together and providing support for those that were in need. We've had lots of instances where we've had to help families get across the flooded creeks by meeting them as they walked the railway tracks to meet up with their sick siblings in hospital. So, we were able to help in that manner as well. Personally, we did have leaking roofs, but, that was minor compared to what others had experienced in our community. And I believe, and I'm pretty certain that everyone appreciated the responses provided to the impacts, from Cyclone Jasper. So we were there to support everyone's
Needs.
well-being and whatnot.
What's needed is, because we actually went in a deficit with emergency relief with our budget and exceeded our budgets, we actually rallied government and said, look, there is a lot more needs on the ground. So not only do we see immediate needs, we see long-term needs for housing. And there are a lot of people that have been impacted with damages to their homes or their dwellings, and they need to have standard homes, and so that's something that we've been working with Housing Department. We've got cases of people having to clean up yards, and so we've been doing with our maintenance crews and our construction crews a lot more work with gutters and trying to clean those out so that families are assisted, and particularly the elderly who can't reach those heights that you would normally have to reach. And so we're getting a lot of training happening with working with heights, chainsawing. So we're in effect getting ready for the next one, so that our team of staff can actually be on the ground a lot more in the cleanup of the actual recovery works that need to happen in the community.
As an organisation, we are booking more training. So we have people in our organisation on the ground to help with community issues, like to have those qualifications to help with picking up trees and stuff like that, operating chainsaws and stuff. And going through the disaster as a community, we had a lot of organisations coming together, and we've come out stronger, I guess, in a way. And Grandma Judy always talks about continuous improvement, and I think as a community, as a region, I think that we've come out of this, a stronger, in a stronger way, if that makes sense. And we're just always striving for success and striving for continuous improvement, helping our community.
Well, we know that our policies, and that's something that we did after, we did a catch-up after the actual cyclone, and we says, look, we want to update some of our procedures in how we actually respond a lot better. So that's the work in progress at the moment, so we're doing that. We've got generators, and what we're finding is that we would love to have generators at each of our 4 sites so that we're always open. We're not dependent on power supply. And so if there was a power outage, well, that's fine, but we'll stay operating, because we are looking at the more vulnerable clients in our community. So they're the sort of things that Ngoonbi is doing. Sorry, I always get affected by pollen and the rest of it. The other things that we did note was that there weren't too many, what do you call it when you have a place that you can go to?
Place of refuge.
Yeah, place of refuge, but so that's something that I'd like, council to work even more so on, so we can have identified places. Cranda is a place full of trees, and so there were a lot of families that were moving to other family homes for the very fact that they were fearful of trees falling on them. So we didn't have those evacuation centres that you would normally do in the past. And I remember being in an Aboriginal community, and we would go to the local primary school as the evacuation centre. But I know it's getting more and more problematic, as we go. These are not the older days. But I do realise that in Mareeba, there was the Seventh-day Adventist church that was open, which was wonderful when we saw that they had opened their doors to allow people to come in, especially travellers and the rest of it, because there's always going to be people that don't have stationary homes or safe homes to live in during a disaster. So I believe that's something that we as a community and council need to work on, yeah. Oh, I think the community, and this is the message we've been getting out there, prepare for the next one. One of the things we did as an organisation is that we had one of the, I think Adam, can't remember Adam's last name, but Adam come in to talk to us about extreme weather events, because we know that we can expect a lot more. It seems the nature and the climate change, that's happening. We can expect a lot more, extreme weather events. So in terms of being ready for it, we want to be prepared, and we want to also get the word out, and that's what we've been doing. Get ready, stock up, make sure you're ready for the next thing, so that you can be kind of offline or out of action for at least up to 10 days. And one of the things that we found is that community has resilience. You know that. Community has resilience, and we were so amazed by people that were flooded, and their homes were flooded, how their sense of humour, never left them. And they saw the funny things in events that happened to them. Like, for instance, this couple that came to see us, and we were able to help with gathering the services to help and respond with resources. And so that they weren't out of pocket and funds, and connecting them up to what was available with payments and relief, payments from government. This family, they says, we saw the esky floating by, and then then it was pinned up in the tree, and they said all we could do was just laugh. They never gave up. The resilience of the people in the community was just amazing, to see, and I know going forward we'd always come back stronger for it, like Lakoa said. We're about, we're a caring community. We like to be known as a caring community and a caring organisation, and that's what Ngoonbi was established for, to look after community. And no matter what happens, I believe that we'll continue to work together, and we'll gather in the teams and make sure that we can support people who want to do things as well to help. Yeah.
It's encourage our people, which we do, the community, to be ready for the next one, because they didn't know to expect this big flooding and that through Jasper.
And just like going through these times, it really makes you grateful to be a part of such a loving community. It really makes you, it gives you more passion, to serve the community each day. So it's so rewarding. Yeah.